Oh, yeah, PFHOF number 355, number 71 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, Don Anthony Boselli Jr., all the way from the Hotel California.
Commitment.
No, you know what happened, Hick?
What?
Flight issue last night.
Oh, so you're here.
What a bummer.
I'm
Well, good. That means you'll be wide awake and focused.
Darn.
I got it. It's too long of a story. But
Okay.
It was what a mess. Like, just a mess.
Oh,
Tony, before we get specific, just if you had to, are the Jaguars right now, based on your thoughts of them going into training camp, have they been the better, the same, worse? Is that even a fair parameter to put on the preseason? Just your thoughts on these first 2 weeks, and if they contrast at all with what you thought when things started. What's caught your eye from that standpoint?
It's a good question. It's hard to say, Jeff, because the way preseason and camp goes, I think they look. I'm going to say status quo.
Okay.
What I thought.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
Because to me, it's so hard with the way preseason is played and camp is done, the limited reps. I don't think you really know who you are till the end of September. Because, you don't get the reps. You don't get the time. I mean, and so I think it's hard. I think it's hard to prepare. I think it's hard to evaluate. And I think we get fooled all the time. Not here. I mean, in the NFL in general. And I think you kind of, I think the way the NFL is, kind of how I look at the NFL season is like, all right, let's, first few weeks, find out who you are, and then you start playing the game about positioning and try to stay healthy, and then you find out who's really who can get it done in December, January. I mean, as far as I think what's always been true in the NFL is you really find out about a team and kind of who are the teams that are for real, and it counts coming late November, December.
Right.
It's always been like that.
We tend to, as fans in media, note guys who are having, quote, a great camp. As a player, did any of your peers earn your respect or your value of them as a football player based on what you saw them do in practice? Or is that strictly how they perform when the lights are on? You know what I mean? I mean, I if you're having a good camp, it means you're practicing good, or does it mean you're a better player? Or
well, I think it's both. I think it's actually both, because you did earn respect.
Okay.
In practice for the type of how you approached it. Were you prepared? How hard you practiced? Were you a pro? One of the guys I got the most respect for that I ever played with was Keenan McCardell.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody who prepared and practiced and loved football and it was tough, and approached every day like a pro, like Keenan McCardell. I mean, he was fun to watch as a player. Obviously, everyone loved him as a player, but he prepared, and it was so important to him. And so that, I think, for me at least, I respected guys that did that. Mm-hmm. And then as far as respect as a player, I mean,
I guess from a playmaking standpoint, did it impress you if a guy made a play in practice? You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, you were on. You could see things there were things, there's throughout his whole career there'd be practices Fred would make someone look so stupid on the field, in the secondary especially. I mean, he'd make a cut, or linebackers be falling over on themselves. Obviously, the skill guys, yeah. And then I'll say this, guys like Tony Brackens, you knew early in camp, I'm like, okay, this dude can play. He can play. However, there's also guys who can do it on the practice field that can't translate it to when it counts, for whatever reason.
Right.
And we've all seen that. And that's why I say, I mean, even you get a good sense. I always said, we talked about this for years. It's all about it. It's a building block. You get into OTAs, you start lifting, then you get on the field, you kind of evaluate, you kind of see some things, you get a sense. Then you get into training camp, no pads, okay, we're acclimating. Now you got full pads. Now you can do another evaluation. You see more. You understand who that player is, who we are as a team. Preseason tells you a little bit more because now you're doing it against someone else. But you really don't know until opening day and those back when I played 16, but those 17 games are in front of you.
I want
now you go prove who you are as a team.
I want to dive into the offensive line play a little bit. There were a lot of positives for the Jags on Saturday night. That was not one of them, in my opinion, but I want to get it from you because I don't know, and I want to ask you about a specific play, but I'm not confident that I'm looking for okay, we know inevitably, Tony, the starting five are not going to start all 17 games. So I know I got Walker Little, but and again, what else do I have back there? I didn't see a whole lot on Saturday to give me we'll be fine because this guy looks like he's ready. Talk to me a little bit about that, and then I want to ask you about a specific play because I've seen it, and I don't know. It looks silly, but it might have been what his job was, so I want to ask you about that. But first, tell me about...
No, I know. Zach. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Whirlybird.
Was that bad?
Let me just say this.
Okay.
I'm so glad that the internet and X was not alive. Because you could take clips of anything.
I know. That's why I'm trying to couch it before I get to it. But let's
cut to the chase.
Tell folks what you're talking about.
Okay, so there's a play. It was
Luke Fortner.
Go ahead.
Luke Fortner on a late in the game. It's a 4th and inches. Quarterback sneak, Mac Jones.
Right.
Mac Jones easily gets it.
Right.
It's there's a shaded guy to his Luke Fortner's left when I mean kind of in between him and the left guard, and,
right.
And there's a guy head up on the guard.
Right.
When it is quarterback sneak, everyone wedges, kind of goes. You're responsible for your inside gap, towards the center, and all you're trying to do is get that 1 yard.
Right.
Of the quarterback. Luke Fortner comes off the ball. Which I'll say this, he came off low because what happened last year, he played high. And he basically just whiffs on anybody and goes right through and falls on the ground.
Right.
And everyone's just killing him.
I almost thought, Tone, that maybe that because, look, there's nobody there, so just fall down, get out of the way, and let Mac fall over you. No.
So I think it's overblown. I would make one judgment.
Okay.
On Luke Fortner based on that play.
Okay, that's why I asked you.
Now, do I think he could have done? Could he taken one step to the left? Usually the center is going to go wedge on the closest nearest technique.
Right.
Yeah, I think he could have taken a better step, and it wouldn't have looked as silly.
Right.
But that's he's firing off. He's it happens. I wouldn't it means it's nothing. I saw that. It was funny.
Right.
I laughed.
Right.
But there's zero, you're not going to make a judgment on who Luke Fortner is based on that play. It has no relevance to any evaluation of him as a player.
That's why I asked you. But now overall.
However, if anyone ever throws a grenade onto the field, we got our guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I saw the two guards hit guys, and then there was nobody hitting them.
Cover! And
he kind of just.
Well, he was uncovered. He should have worked a little bit to the left. But
make some contact of some sort, rub shoulders, so to speak.
It's fine.
All right.
It's fine.
All right.
Okay. Offensive line.
Yes, sir.
What's my feeling overall? Dan, you and I talked about it in the press box.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, I saw your name tag. Where were you?
Front row HD Stadium, 60-inch view. It's fantastic. AC was blowing.
Oh, we had the AC working.
Wine was pouring.
We did have the AC working.
Beautiful night with the wife, Tony. Oh, you would have loved it.
We had AC.
I wish I could have had you over.
Never.
Would have been fantastic.
I'm glad you
like grandkids? You like grandkids? Tony could have bounced one of those for a round. We could have played some couch football. Things were great.
Okay, good. I was just curious.
That's it. There's your answer.
There's one major professional.
That's right. I'm a regular season guy, Tony. How many preseasons we got to go through this, right? Doug sat me. He wants to be ready for the Browns game.
Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. Back to as Dan, you and I talked in the press box. We were doing our job.
That's correct.
On Saturday night.
So was I, friend.
Okay. That's enough of that.
Oh,
so we talked about at the end of last season as we wrapped up the show. What was the one thing I said is
yes,
this team needs to be more physical and we need to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I thought that was an emphasis in the offseason.
Paramount.
You were so fired up you had to go cool off for about 6 months.
I had to take 6 months off because I was some. And if you look at, let's start the defensive side of the ball. We'll get to the offense. I know line of the question. They added Eric Armstead now. We haven't seen him yet. Older guy coming off an injury, but heck of a player.
Right.
Mason Smith, 2nd-round pick, early in camp at least. And early, thoughts are big, physical, tough guy. So they tried to add some pieces on that side.
Right.
On the offensive line, they added one piece.
Right.
They had Mitch Morris, veteran offensive lineman, to replace Luke Fortner. And basically they said, we feel like we were good enough across the board. All we need is new center.
Right.
And so we're going to see. We'll see if that's right or wrong. So I'm still concerned with the fact that we've already had some injuries. And so Ezra Cleveland, he played last night. He did not look healthy all week, just watching on the field. But he did play not last night. He played Saturday night. And so that was good. Anton Harrison got some reps too. I think Anton Harrison's probably your best offensive line, especially when it comes to pass blocking right now.
Okay.
But I think it's a big question still.
Yeah.
Because, I don't think they had a great day against Tampa on the Wednesday, full pads.
Right.
That's okay. I mean, we all have had, bad days can happen. So, but this is a group that we're all going to be watching very closely. And it's an older, you got some older guys, center and right guard are older on the back end of their career.
Right. And
so you bring up the question, what's the depth look like, if injuries happen? Well,
didn't look good.
Well, I think you have a very good swing tackle.
Okay.
And Walker Little, and that's better than most teams.
Okay.
It's hard to find offensive linemen.
Right.
I'm intrigued by Cooper Hodges.
Yeah.
I think Cooper Hodges has a chance to be a good starting caliber offensive lineman in this league.
Okay.
Now, he needs a lot more reps and time and everything, but he's a big physical. I think he's had a good camp. I thought he looked very good in the first preseason game. I thought, everyone's going to focus, and this is what happens.
On the sack, yeah.
On the one play. It's like
that was a bad play, but it happens.
It was a bad play.
Yeah.
He got his hand swiped, he got beat quick, and it's ugly. Okay, great. But he played probably 55, 60 snaps.
Okay, good.
Let's evaluate the entire game.
Okay.
And that's the danger of playing offensive line.
Sure.
You can play, if you have 60 snaps, you can have 59 great ones. If you have an ugly one like Cooper, that's all anyone remembers. So I'm a believer in Cooper Hodges. I think big physical. That's I think he has a chance to be good. Now, are you ready to roll him out as a starter if something happens right away? Well, you're going to have to, because I think he's your best guard.
Okay.
Or your best backup guard, and then I think Fortner is going to be the backup center. So it's your top 8 you're really concerned about.
Right. Have we seen anything from the Foster kid?
He played the other day. But I didn't.
Wildly inconsistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of the word coming out, wasn't it? I mean, he can have his moments.
So, I just was curious.
But I will say this. I think he has potential.
Yeah, I like that pick, where they took it, the value they could get.
I have no issues at all. I think he's got some length. His feet are good enough. I think he has a chance. Is he ready to go play right now? No. But he doesn't have to be. You already have, you have your swing tackle.
Tony.
So it's going to, I'll say this, it's going to be interesting because I think, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Blake Hance. And I think Blake Hance is a pretty good backup as well.
Okay.
And I think he can do, has a lot of flexibility. So it'll be interesting to see how many do they keep. 9? Do they keep 10? Because your 8, I think your 8 are done.
Okay.
Your 8 are, Hodges, Fortner, and Little with the starting 5. So that's 8.
Right.
I think they keep Foster. I don't think they're going to cut a 4th rounder who has potential and is, has some measurables that you like and has put some stuff on film that you like. Now he struggled at times, especially as he got tired. I thought as he got tired in the game on Saturday night, his performance kind of got a little bit worse and became more inconsistent. But so that's 9.
Yeah.
So if you keep 9, then I don't think Hans has a place. And I think Hans he'll be on a 53-man roster somewhere. And so do they keep 10? Well, if you're going to keep 10 there, then, now that impacts receiver, what you do at receiver or running back or how many tight ends you keep. So, but overall, I think that's going to be the big story, guys, going into this season. Obviously, it's always about the quarterback and Trevor, and we'll talk about that ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But I think it's the offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, how does this offensive line
I agree.
Now,
same thing we said in the preseason, and it scares me because we've said that before in the past, and then it ended up playing out about different positions, different issues, different areas. Edge rushers.
And I think they've done some. Yeah, but I think they've done some things that'll try to help these guys. So if you watch during camp and watch 2 preseason games, they are in 3-point stances and are trying to play more physical, trying to come off the ball much better. They were mainly a 2-point stance almost every snap last year, more horizontal. So they're trying to do some things that give them some opportunities to be more physical in how they're calling how they are designing the run and how they're calling it. So we'll see. But that was my question, and this was the exact conversation we had Saturday night. All joking aside, it was what Dan and I did, Jeff. It was my question coming out of 23.
Yeah.
And it's my question going into 24.
That's fair.
I'm right in the same cab with you on that one. That's that, and hopefully it's a matter of getting guys, like you said, 60 plays in a row together cohesively, game plan. Look, the best players and the best units have their bad moments, right? I mean, the best quarterbacks in the league throw pick sixes. It happens.
We all do. My goodness.
I just don't want it to be such a liability that it keeps you from being the contender that you could be. That would be a shame. But we'll see. We're a long way from there. Tony, we appreciate it. And
good stuff, Tone.
We'll talk to you next Monday. How's that sound?
Thank you, friend.
Sounds good, guys. Have a great week.
There you go. That's Breakfast with Boselli, the Hall of Famer. We got a little chat with Fred that we'll have coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. But we, right now, take a quick pause, come back, 10-minute drill, take you through some of the headlines and highlights of the sports world on the weekend that was. It's the Monday Morning Quarterback, divorcemenonly.com.